Let some more people get in here first before we kick off the show. Get the banner straight real quick for what we're going to talk about. Let's see. Straighten out a couple banners, guys, before we kick off the show. Give me about 2 minutes so that we can have on the screen what we're going to be discussing. Hope everybody's good today. Guys, got any comments, please put them down there now. If you got any questions, throw them up now. I'm one deep like zero to crooked. Let's get it.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Uh-oh. We don't want you, Siri. Somehow we got Siri there. My bad. All right, let's get up this Monday Night Football. Appreciate everyone who's already inside. I'm going to give it about 2-3 more minutes to let some more people come in before we kick off the show. I appreciate everyone who's rocking with 5 Star Live. I'm just setting up the banners right now so that we can discuss these games tonight. It's always us versus the machine. Thank you for everyone who's joining. Please be patient. Throw up any questions, any comments. They're all appreciated by your boy 5 Star in Vegas. I love my community. I love rocking out with you guys. I'm going to try to get with you guys more this week, even if I have to come solo, because this is a big weekend. You guys know we love college football, and this is a great college football betting week, especially with all the bowl games, and then the college football playoffs kick off on Friday. So I'll start off the show shortly. Let me finish these banners. Rock out these banners real quick, and we'll start rolling. Throw up your comments, throw up your questions right now for 5 Star. Starting shortly. Please be patient. Patience is a virtue in the wagering world. This is the last one, and we'll start the show. I'll get in the comments shortly. See, can I answer some of you guys' questions and also post some of your comments about the show. Hope everyone had a great weekend, a great betting weekend. Okay. Make sure I got everything up that we're going to talk about. We'll kick this show off. Okay. All right, I think we got a good number in here now. Anyone who doesn't catch the show live, please make sure you like the show when you go to the website or go to the YouTube channel. Let's get to some of these comments. First of all, what's good, Wagering World? It's your boy 5-Star in Vegas, and I'm broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. This is the Wagering World. Guys, it's great to be in here with you all. I appreciate everyone who's in the community. I see all of the comments. Let's get in there. Let's check out some of these comments before we jump into the past, man. We got my boy Brandon Whedon. What's up, man? Always great to have you in here. He's a loyal listener. Appreciate you for following. What's up, my brother? It's all love. Shout out Mr. Neezy. My boy Griff is always in this joint. Yeah, he might have to sit out a year. He still, Mahomes will be back just in time. This wasn't his year, man. Shout out Clyde. What's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for tuning in, brother. You got the right tag. The marathon always continues. Rest in peace to the great Nip, man. Nipsey Hussle, man. I saw his first show in Houston and kicked it with him backstage at Warehouse Live many years ago with my brother, rest in peace, Duke. So, man, he's always respected. A real LA legend, a real hip-hop legend. My brother, what it do? Okay, we're going to get to that. The college football and Super Bowl picks. You got to be patient and tune in. I can't give you that this early. We're just kicking out the playoffs, but we're going to definitely discuss some of my favorites. And guys, take notes. If you're a serious bettor, and a lot of time guys reach out to me and they question 5-Star, what's your methods? How do you bet? It's really no method to what I do. It's man, 30 years straight of watching football and really loving football. Like, I was a weird kid. I've talked about it before on the show. I was one of those kids. When I was 6, I was pretending that I was the coach of an NFL team. So I look at the game a little bit different than most guys do. I just love the schematics of football. It's like playing chess, man. There's so many different things that go into the game that people who from afar don't watch football and don't understand the strategy of football. They think it's just some guys hitting each other hard, but it's nothing like that, man. There's so much strategy in football, and that's what I love, and that's what got me addicted to watching it and following the sport. So I have 30 years of experience of not missing a weekend of watching football. That's one of the reasons I became a bettor, was because I was spending so much time watching football. I was like, this has to make me some money, man. I'm spending way too much time in front of the TV. I'm getting older now, around 18, 19. I decided to start doing this full time as a pro because I was like, man, I can't continue as someone who's a young adult just trying to build a life, spending all these hours watching sports, and it's not benefiting me. So that kind of led to my journey. Started with the love, and then after that, it kind of became something that was smart to do because why waste time? So when people ask me that, they're like, how do you bet? It's 30 years of experience, man, 20 years of betting when it comes to 5-Star, man. So it's going to be hard to match what I do, but what you can do is always take notes, man. I try to give the game and give up tidbits. If to all the people who watch the show and who've been following me for 4 years, they know that I always like to give out a lot of free game, man. So make sure that you pick that up. If you're a true bettor who are looking to become a professional, looking to do this full time, get out of the grind of the 9 to 5, get out off the hamster wheel and do this full time and be your own business, man. Take notes, man. I try to give enough information to help you guys go out on your own. I always tell guys who reach out to me and want to join the group, if they're independently betting and doing well, hey, man, if you're doing well, you have to continue to get reps, like anything else. So keep betting by yourself if that's what you're successful at. Now, if you're a guy who's losing a lot of money, or you're a guy who understands investing and you already enjoy investing in whether it's coins, stocks, or whatever, and then you want to hire a pro, which is always what you should do if you don't have the time, if you have a regular career going and you're looking for this to be just a secondary income for you, then yeah, then you hire me. hire another guy who's good at consulting, man, who can get you to the window so that you can win some money and you can grow your money. But if you're a guy who considers yourself a sports bettor yourself, man, you don't need me. You need to watch my show and get the information that I'm giving out, and also kind of learn some of my tactics that I have. Like if the line looks fun, it's probably money, and apply that to your own set of skills and continue to sharpen your skills, man. Iron sharpens iron, and that's what we're here for. We're here to make everyone betters. All right, I appreciate everyone who jumped in with some comments. Some of the questions about futures I will answer over this period of the rest of the year. It won't be just this show. All right, let's jump first off into the past. Before we do that, let me talk about a little bit on the intro, man. The reason I call the show Pete Weber is because I don't know if any of you guys follow bowling. I don't, but I was a kid that was really weird when I was growing up. As I said, like before I could, I bought a car at 15. So I started driving at 15. But from the age of, I say 9 to maybe 13 or 14, every day I watched ESPN 24/7 around the clock. It didn't matter what was on, whether it was sailing, whether it was slalom, whether it was cricket, it didn't matter. And one of the sports that used to come on was bowling. And Pete Weber was a really dominant bowler when I was a little kid. And he was has the most U.S. Open championships in bowling. And his dad was a great bowler, and he broke all his records as well. And the reason I call the show Pete Weber is because it's bowling season, man. And I feel like when it comes to these college football bowls, it's no one better than your boy 5-star in Vegas. My boy DS Griff knows who he is. Who do you think you are? I am. He already knows. Shout out DS Griff. He's always in the wagering world, man. But really weird Sunday, guys. I mean, we lose the great Patrick Mahomes. We lose Michael Parsons, who's just, I know that has to be sickening for that Packers franchise, man. You go make these trades to shore up your pass rush, and now you lose the very guy who was the key to the pass rush. You kind of mortgaged a little bit of your future because they were all chips in for this year, man, and just an unfortunate situation. I know that Jerry Jones is probably over there giggling because even though they're losing, he still won on the trade with them getting Kenny Clark and getting some draft picks. And now Michael Parsons seems to be done for the year. Really sad to see my boy, former LSU Tiger, Joe Burrow, quit on the Bengals. That actually was the only morning loss that I had. I had I'm lying because I split the Bills and the Patriots. I had the Patriots first half and for the game, and they ended up giving it up in the second half. But I had the Bengals first half and game and money line, and they got crushed. Just a poor performance. Joe Burrow might be putting a Carson Palmer, man. I think he's trying to force his way out of Cincinnati. He doesn't want to deal with it, man. He does not want to deal with it, man. And my boy Ed, I agree with you. I got so much money tied in. You guys know if you follow the show, I had so much future money on the Chiefs to win the AFC. Then I started pivoting and putting money into the Texans when I saw after that little comeback by Davis Mills, and I saw that the defense, they gave up all those points. Davis Mills gets to come back against Jacksonville. When they beat Jacksonville and now you got the split 1-1, I looked at the rest of the schedule and I started dumping money into the Texans. And I have several tickets on the Texans now to win the AFC that's going to trump what I had on the Chiefs. But, yeah, I was on the Chiefs. I didn't have anything on the Packers to win the NFC. I got in the NFC, I have a ticket on the Rams that I got preseason. I also had the Rams to win the NFC West. I gave all of that out like in August on the show when Spread and I were on here. And also I have a ticket on in the NFC. Who did I put my other ticket on? I have another ticket that's pending too. I got to go through I have a lot of futures, man. It's investing. So, I always preach to you guys on the show that a futures bet is just, sometimes it doesn't make sense. You look at my boy Raheem Palmer. He has Carolina Panthers in a good position, even though they lost to the Saints yesterday, still tied for first place. But you want to get it where these are all hedgeable now, where they're hedgeable futures. So now you got a stock that either you can withdraw on it if you're in a book that can cash out and make you some money and make a profit, or you can start hedging on the other side. Prince Thomas says he needs Houston to win the AFC South. Yeah, I got that one too for plus 300. during the season. We'll see how that one goes. But getting back to Joe Burrow, I don't know if Burrow is pulling the Carson Palmer away. I really think that's what he's doing. Cincinnati is just a poorly ran organization. Started by a wonderful coach in Paul Brown, who was lights out with Cleveland. He decided to start his own organization. And his kids, man, just like a lot of companies in the world, they just don't care about the business or run it as well as he does. And Cincinnati has a long history of not knowing what to do with really good players, man. And I think Joe Burrow has had enough, and he's trying to get out of town, and he's showing his displeasure on the field by not even trying. The last of the game when they were down 17-0, and then he throws the pick by the end zone. I had some on him live plus 14.5. It was just, I was like, this guy isn't trying. It was clear as day because I watched Burrow his whole career going back to his first start at LSU. I didn't know about him much when he was on the bench at Ohio State. I only learned about him after Coach O brought him to LSU. And I remember when the switch hit for him, he took a late hit, I believe, against Central Florida, against UCF in a bowl game. And before that, he was just a marginal player. And after that, he took off, man. And Joe Brady and that offense just became lights out the following year. He has the big win at Texas, where he puts up 70 points and never looks back, and he's been a legend since. But I think he's trying to force his way out, man. I don't know if this is the proper way to do it. He's built enough stock in himself and his brand that regardless of what he does, he's considered a top 5, top 10 quarterback. So I'm sure it'll be teams big in Cincinnati to trade him, but he just signed a new contract not too long ago, the highest paid player in the history of the Bengals. So I don't know if he's able to get out. Maybe he's just trying to force Zach Taylor out. Maybe Zach Taylor, it's time for him to lose his job and, try to make your quarterback happy. I know he's from that Ohio area. Sometimes you get sick of being at home too, man. So we'll see what's going on with Joe Burrow. Also, we get Devontae Adams with a hammy strain. They're hoping that he'll be back for the playoffs for the Rams. That Rams offense does need him because when the playoffs start, especially when you have teams like the Eagles with such a high-level defensive coordinator like Vic Fangio, they're going to figure out ways to slow down the unstoppable Puka Nacua. It won't be as easy as it's been all year, but I always stress that it's a really good job that Sean McVay does is getting his best wide receiver uncovered, and he continues to do it with Puka Nacua like he did with Cooper Kupp. So we'll see how the Rams respond from that. Let's get to the past. This show is all about transparency. Let's talk about some of our plays from last week. I had the Timberwolves against the Warriors on the road. I was able to cash that when I gave that out here on the show. T-Wolves get it done. I believe it's their 6th straight win over the Warriors. Warriors are just old. They got a lot of problems over there. Steve Kerr held on to that team too long, forced his GM to quit and go work for ESPN. Now he's back working for another company. I think he's in hockey or something now, but he was a really good GM, and he left because he saw where everything was going. Steve Kerr was too tied into trying to relive the Bulls' history. He was upset that the Bulls kind of ended their dynasty a little bit too early, and he tried to hold on to Draymond a little bit too long, man, and ends up destroying the team. That team has never recovered from the punch. So just a good cash for us there. We lost this one. I took OKC, and I can never be mad when I lose with OKC. They've won me so much money this year. They won our bettors so much money this year. You got to take OKC. Even though they lose to the Spurs pull a great upset off. Unbelievable game by Victor Wembanyama. Someone showed a picture of him and Chet Holmgren, and they said this is what it looks like. They say that a Chrysler 300 looks like a Rolls Royce until it's near a Rolls Royce. I don't know who made that saying up. I'm heavy into cars. I always have been my whole life, and I never thought a Chrysler 300 looked like a Rolls Royce, but it's a saying that people say, and they said that when Victor Wembanyama pulls up against Chet, he reminds you of what's the superstar and what's a role player. 22 points for him off the bench. The most impressive thing for me in that game was the way that the Spurs were able to play defense. You guys know that Victor Wembanyama is an alien. He 7'6" or whatever the hell he is, and just able to do anything on the court. I remember watching him when he was maybe 18 years old when I was betting Euro League, and he played for Tony Parker's team over in France, man. And he was a young boy. Now at that time he might have been like 6'10", 6'11". And I was like, why is this guy on the wing? And he was a good 3-point shooter, really fluid. I'm like, this is a tall shooting guard. He grows another, half a leg, and now the Spurs are teaching him how to actually utilize his talent. I like that young coach over there for the Spurs, really anal guy, and I think that he's going to do well as the coach over there. He gets the best out of those young kids. And then you have De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle. Castle right there is the best player coming out there drafted. Reed Shepherd's pushing him, though. Reed might have a better career. We'll see how time goes, but right now, Stephon Castle is clearly the best player out of that class from a couple years ago that was drafted, and he's showing it. Great showing by him. De'Aaron Fox is finally healthy. He's happy. He said a statement the other day to the press about, hey, man, I'm a winner. I'm a score in this league, because they were talking about him deferring the victory. And, Fox feels like he's the first option. He's the point guard. And I think that Wembanyama will benefit from Fox's aggressiveness as well. It takes a little pressure off of him. I'll be excited to see how they perform. I will be at that game tomorrow night. Lord says the same when the Spurs and the Knicks play for the NBA Cup. But I'm never mad about losing when I take OKC at all, especially now that they lost money line as well. So not a big deal. We turn the page. Now let's get to Saturday. I gave out Army plus 6.5 versus Navy, and we also took Army plus 3.5 for the first half. What a game. I love watching that game every year, even though sometimes watching option teams can get kind of boring. It's just the passion. It's the when they shoot the camera teams do a really good job. The producers for CBS for many years, they've done a great job with the Army and Navy game. How they go to the cadets, you see all of the pride that they take in this game, man. They go to the Navy side, they go to the Army side. You see all of these young kids, young adults who are out here risking their life every day for us to live in freedom. And this is their one moment to get away from all of that stuff and just play some football, man, and enjoy some football and root for their teams. And it's a really, really, really good event. I had President Trump come out and toss the coin to add a little bit theatrics to it, but it lived up to the billing, definitely, man. 17-16, Navy escapes. Blake Horvath, he tried to get a ball away to Army on that last drive about 4 times, and it was so many things that went his way in order to keep the ball and end up eventually scoring with a 4th down touchdown pass to the great Eli Heidenreich. Heidenreich is the best receiver I've seen in the Navy ever. Number 22, long, lanky kid. He has some speed. He's always open, man. He's probably the best receiver I've seen in Navy. And Horvath is a good player, but, man, he's turnover prone. And they survived. They ended up losing the ball on one of those turnovers on the goal line. Ends up that he was down, or at least the ref said he was down, and Navy survives. They get the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for the 2nd straight year. Both these teams moving forward are going to bowl games. You got UConn is going to be taking on Army in the Fenway Bowl. That should be something else. UConn is a really good team under Jim Moore Jr. He's made those kids really perform a lot better than you expect out of Connecticut football. So that'll be a tough one for Army. And then, but you got Jeff Monken is such a good coach with Army. He'll have them ready to play for sure. And then Navy faces Cincinnati. I got to see if Brendan Sorsby is going to play for Cincinnati. I don't know if he's sitting out. He might be. I'm hearing some stuff about him transferring, but we'll see. And then that's going to be in the Liberty Bowl that they hold every year in Memphis. Navy puts up a lot of points. Cincinnati can score. That'll probably be a total game. Then we took a major L with Boise State with the plus 10 versus Washington. Shout out to my boy Jed Fish. I don't know why I faded Jed Fish. I was worried about maybe him having some opt-outs with Washington being a bigger program, playing in the Big Ten. I was a little worried about how motivated was this Huskies team going to be to play a Boise State team that's coming off of winning the Mountain West, and Washington came to play. The second quarter was a dominant performance. 3 touchdown passes by DeMond Williams in the second quarter, and that's when they kind of separated themselves, went up 24-3 and never looked back in that game. Maddox Matson played a horrible game. He threw 2 interceptions in the second quarter. Ends up getting benched because his foot, I guess, starts acting back up. He had a protective boot on. He came back a little early to face UNLV, and I was really disappointed in UNLV for not taking advantage of Maddox Matson's injury. They should have played a lot better. They turned the ball over early in that game, and it kind of snowballed, and then it got back to them kind of like that thing that I always bet. When I look across the field and I see a team and I know that I could beat them, that's what happened to UNLV. Boise State just hit it in high gear, and they're very confident when they see the Rebels. But I feel like the Rebels should have beaten Boise State in that game. Just a bad start, and it continued throughout the game. But in this game, we saw the real Boise State. They're not that good of a team. Spencer Danielson now has lost 3 straight bowl games. I don't know about him. I mean, I guess for their division, he's okay, but he's not that good of a coach, in my opinion. The backup comes in, Cutforth, who I've been fading all year since he became the quarterback after Matson's injury for Boise State. He adds 3 more interceptions, not to be outdone. So, yeah, in that one, I think that it just was bad beat, bad break, bad handicap. I say it's a bad handicap on my part. The reason why is because I know too much about Jed Fish and how good of a coach he is to think that he wouldn't have his team prepared. Jed Fish has been great everywhere he's coached at. Does he take the job at Michigan? And that's the question. And maybe take Damon Williams up to Ann Arbor, because we already heard that Bryce Underwood is most likely going in the portal. Let's see if he goes back to my LSU Tigers and goes over there with Lane Kiffin. Personally, I'd rather have Trinidad Chambliss. He has applied for an extra year of eligibility with the NCAA since he started his career at a Division III team. So Ferris State, I believe, is where Trinidad Chambliss was at. So now we'll see if they grant him an extra year. If so, I'd love to see him in the purple and gold. He's already very familiar with running that offense, but we take the L on that one and keep it moving. Let's get to Sunday. Bills at the Patriots. On this one, I didn't give a play on it. We talked, and I said I leaned the Patriots, but I did end up playing them with the group first half before the game. Bills in the Patriots 10-game winning streak. The league really wants Buffalo in the Super Bowl. Only the Texans can stand in between them. They've gotten rid of Lamar. They've gotten rid of Mahomes now completely. Lamar's still fighting. He might can still overtake the Steelers, but they for sure have gotten rid of old Mahomes, man. So Mahomes was the one kryptonite stopping Josh Allen from getting to the Super Bowl. And let's see if Superman, the new Superman, Cam Newton was the first. If he's able to carry the Bills to get, in the Super Bowl and try to right all the wrongs of Jim Kelly, I personally think that even in Buffalo, that the Texans can get it done. I think that Josh Allen just doesn't like playing D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico does a great job of scheming it up. Now, does C.J. Stroud and that offense have enough to put up the points, and can they hold on late? As we saw the second half, Josh Allen's going to keep firing. He's going to keep going. He's going to put up points. Can you sustain? And the Patriots were unable to. Second half, no show by Drake May. Vrabel has this team ahead of schedule, though. If you watch the show, you know that I said he was the most important acquisition, forget hire, in the NFL during the spring. And I think he's proven that. Bills are right still in the wild card situation. As long as the Patriots don't have a complete collapse, they should still win the AFC East. But it has to be disheartening for them. What was disheartening for me was the senator from New York, Chuck Schumer, saying "Go Bills" before speaking about the unfortunate and tragic shooting where 11 kids were killed at Brown University in Rhode Island, and also the terrorist attacks on the beaches in Australia. That was just it. I just was tweeting that, and even President Trump's comments on Rob Reiner, who I don't agree with either one of their politics, Rob Reiner or Trump. I don't trust any politician, but I think that we've gotten a little bit too callous and crass in this country, and Chuck Schumer just reinforces that why the hell are you saying go Bills during a time when you're talking about lives being taken tragically with families at home grieving? That's just inappropriate, and it just shows how little these people care about us. That's why it's always us versus the machine. Y'all hit that like button if you're rocking with 5 Star in Vegas, if you're rocking with the wagering world. All right, let's get to the next game. We had the Chargers. I told you guys Chargers plus 240 against the Chiefs was a lick, and it was the whole game. I'm watching Mahomes on the sidelines. Mahomes is not engaged. He wasn't talking to anyone the whole game before the injury. He's just like he was ready to get out of there. Like, I can't wait till the season is over with. He's over Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce caused him so many interceptions this year. We could name at least 4 situations in big games where Travis Kelce had the ball, hit him in the hands. He drops it. And not only does he drop it, he pops it up in the air and causes an interception on Mahomes. So I know he's sick of Kelce, sick of Chris Jones. Chris Jones is at a presser. He doesn't even know that they're out the playoffs. Like, what the hell is going on? My guy, shout out Be Authentic on X. This is a kid who we talk often in the DMs, and we share some comments together. He's a really sharp kid. He pointed out to me something that I kind of forgot about. The Chiefs have not been the same since Eric Bieniemy left. They snuck in the one Super Bowl, but Eric Bieniemy was Mahomes' guy, and he was the guy that also kind of had a control of Mahomes. Andy Reid, I don't think Mahomes respects him, but he respected Eric Bieniemy, and he kind of looked at Bieniemy as an OG, as a father figure, tough guy who could kind of tell him what to do, and he listened. You look with Andy Reid. Andy Reid's back to the same old reasons why he got ran out of Philadelphia. He's not running the ball enough, lacks the ability to establish a run game, doesn't put in a good run package. Horrible hire at OC with Matt Nagy. Just another retread. The NFL is a joke with all its retreads, all of its nepotism, and then to have the nerve to talk about Shedeur Sanders. That's the whole league is built on that. Every offensive and defensive assistant coach, special teams coach, scout, almost all of them that are retreads or their nepotism. Their dads, their uncles, somebody they knew, their big brother coached, and now they get a job as a favor. And the only thing that suffers is the game. The game is suffering from this because it's some poor coaching going on in the NFL. I really feel bad for guys who don't get an offensive-minded quarterback coach. Like they're talking about now maybe Mendoza goes to Cleveland or goes to the Giants and replaces Dart or Shedeur. But how well is he going to do? It's going to be the same old thing if you don't have a coach who knows how to develop quarterbacks. Brock Purdy went from being the last guy taking a decent, all right guy at Iowa State to being now a $50 million guy because Shanahan understands how to coach quarterback, because he understands how to develop quarterback. So Mendoza, same thing. He goes from Cal, where he's under a defensive-minded head coach, and Justin Wilcox, who doesn't know how to teach mechanics to a quarterback, doesn't emphasize offense and strategy. Guess what happens? He goes over there to the great Kurt Cignetti, who's an offensive guy, and Kurt Cignetti lifts and raises his game. So a lot of these quarterbacks that we're tough on, I blame it more on their coaching and the guys who are coaching them, and all that goes back to retreads and nepotism like Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy should not be the OC for the Kansas City Chiefs. Props to Jim Harbaugh. Tough guy. He's making Herbert turn to a new guy. Herbert was always a blonde, sunshine, happy West Coast guy. Now he's getting back to how he grew up as a farm guy, a tough guy. And he's playing through some injuries. He's earning my respect this year because he's tucking the ball and running it. And all of that comes from Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh was a guy, they called him Captain Comeback when he played. I was a small kid. I remember Jim Harbaugh playing football, I want to say with the Colts, and maybe the Bears or somewhere. And I know he played for the Chargers for a little while, but he was not that talented of a guy, but he always had heart, and he'd run that ball and take hits. And you see a lot of that is going to Justin Herbert. Big deal for them is getting back their rookie running back. That kid, Amarian Hampton, was a really good player in North Carolina's physical specimen. Even in the NFL, some guys come to from college to the NFL, and you look at him, compare them to the other athletes on the field, and you're like, no, this guy's small. Like, for instance, Shador looks really small in the NFL compared to how he looked in college. Look at Amarion Hampton. That guy's a beast, and he's going to have a bright, bright future as long as he can stay healthy. And Harbaugh is the type of guy that leans into the running game. So with him back, if they get maybe one of their offensive linemen back, I think the Chargers can stir it up. Maybe Herbert gets his first playoff win this year. We will see, but great win by them. They're just a better team right now, better defense, better energy in their locker room, everything. Kansas City's finished as we know it. Pat is at the same point in his career that Brady got to. Remember when Brady tore up his knee at the beginning of the season? The Patriots didn't make the playoffs that year. The following year, Belichick tries to bring back the entire squad and keep it the same. They don't do well. They get knocked out the playoffs. I believe they lost to Denver on the road. If I'm not mistaken at the time. I think that's the game when Champ Bailey picked out Brady, ran it back for a touchdown. Jake Plummer and those guys won in Denver against Brady. After that, Belichick strips down the team, starts over, rebuilds through the draft. That's what Kansas City is going to have to do. And I've been throwing this out there to a lot of people, man. I really believe that it's time to move off of Andy Reid. It's very obvious that the game is starting to pass him by some. He's been running the same thing for years and years, man. I just think that it's time to look at Cliff Kingsbury, who has a great relationship with Mahomes, two former Texas Tech quarterbacks. And I think that Cliff Kingsbury has learned from his mistakes at Arizona. He wasn't a bad coach there. He's just a player-friendly coach. And I think he let Kyler Murray get away with more than he should have. And also with Kyler Murray, he's not as talented as Mahomes. He's a winner, but he doesn't have the skill set that Mahomes has. He doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the strength. He doesn't have the passing ability that Mahomes has. I think that Cliff Kingsbury retains Steve Spagnuolo, bring him back. I'd get rid of Chris Jones, too. I'd get rid of him. I'd get him out the locker room. I feel like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce both became entitled. Time to build a team around Mahomes, Rashee Rice, add some more receivers through the draft, try to go find the offensive tackle, draft Reggie Love. They need to draft Reggie Love. They'll be high enough to get him. They need a running back that can take some pressure off of Mahomes. And I think they just need a fresh new start there. So I'd move off Andy Reid. He's getting long in the tooth. He's a Hall of Famer, first ballot. It's time for them to shake things up. I know that the family over there at Kansas City, the Hunt family, has been in the league since day one. And I know that they don't like to stir things up too much, man. But, yeah, it's time to move on. And said the Chiefs need to develop offensive players better. I definitely agree with that. All of that goes back to Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy was really undervalued over there, and that's why he left. Because initially, I believe that he was supposed to be the coach in waiting, and it ended up that Andy Reid didn't want to quit. He just kept going, and Bieniemy was looking at it like, man, I'm not seeing an opportunity for me to ever become a head coach here, so let me get out on the market. Gets out, doesn't interview well. I thought that the Saints were going to hire him, but we ended up getting the right guy with Kellen Moore. But Bieniemy is a guy who just doesn't interview well. And sometimes, like we see with the Sanders situation, when people don't understand you or like you doing these interviewing processes, then, they have every right at their organization to say no to you. And for some reason, Bieniemy is, but he's a football guy. Look at the Bears. What's the strongest position group for the Bears right now? The running backs. And guess who coaches the running backs for the Bears? Eric Bieniemy. So the Chiefs are really hurting from losing Eric Bieniemy, man. Eric Bieniemy has brought a lot to that Bears staff, man. A lot to that Bears staff, man. And I look forward to him getting another opportunity to do his thing. All right, let's get to another game from yesterday. Panthers at Saints. I told you guys the Saints was going to win this game, and they get it done. If the line looks funny, it's money type of situation. And also, I've talked about how Bryce Young struggled against the Saints defense. He's not been good against the Saints. I want to say 9 in his career. He's 1-5 against them or something like that. He had already lost to them earlier in the year at Carolina. The Panthers blow a golden opportunity, an absolutely golden opportunity, man, to get to the get a hold of the NFC South, to take complete control of it, man, and to make it where they have the full, everything's in their hand. No one can stop them from doing what they do, and they blew it, man. They blew it. Excuse me, I said Reggie Love, Prince. I meant Jeremiah Love. You know what I meant, Jeremiah Love. I'm thinking about Obama's assistant that used to play for Duke. I apologize. Jeremiah Love, guys. I apologize. Thanks for pointing that out to me. Jeremiah Love is who Kansas City should look at. But as I was saying, the Panthers just blew it. They're not ready yet. The Panthers are still building. Bryce Young played okay. I saw him make some really good plays, but at the end of the day, the Panthers couldn't block up the Saints' defensive line. And the Saints were able to control the line of scrimmage. Devin Neal is a real player for the Saints. If I'm the Saints, I know that Alvin Kamara said that he doesn't want to leave the Saints. He's even said that he'd consider retiring if the Saints decided to trade him. If I'm them, I'll go back to Alvin Kamara and say, "Hey, AK, how about taking a price cut for us? Let's redo your contract, because they're still going to be in the rebuilding stage." I don't know if Tyler Shuff is a good quarterback. I can tell you this: he's been blessed the same way that Brock Purdy has, where he has a guy in Kellen Moore who understands the position, coaches the position really well, played the position, understands how to keep the mechanics tight for quarterback. So Tyler Shuff is playing a lot better than I saw him playing college. He's kind of toning down on the wild plays. He reminds me a lot of Daniel Jones, and we've seen Daniel Jones has had some success in the league, but it's still a ceiling. But he can get you a playoff win. He can, get you in the playoffs. He can win 10, 11 games, and Tyler Shuff probably can, as long as they continue with Brandon Staley to build up that defense, and as long as they, continue to feed Devin Neal. I think that Devin Neal is going to be a monster. I followed him since Kansas. At Kansas, he was a really, really good player. My boy Kay says that the Chiefs need Kamara. I don't know how much thread is left on Kamara's tire. I think he's okay though. I think he's just now reaching 30. He does a good job of taking care of himself, but he does, as you say, fit Mahomes' play style. He's also an every down back who can, do everything on the field. He's kind of like a McCaffrey. He's just as good split out as he is in the backfield. Yeah, but I think that the Saints have a bright future. As a guy who's followed the Saints my entire life, and they were my team forever, still I root for them. I gotta say that I was pleasantly surprised by the work that Kellen Moore has put in. The Saints come to play every weekend. Like every week they give their team, his team gives a great effort. You never see them lacking, giving up, quitting, and that's a really positive thing. Let's get to these last two games real quick. Lions and the Rams, we cashed that. I told you guys the over 55.5. That was easy. It was going to be a shootout. The Rams were going to find a way in the end to win. And the Lions continue to struggle on defense. They started the year hot on defense after they got back Aiden Hutchinson, but now they're struggling, man. And this is a common theme since Campbell's been the coach. Can they slow down people enough for that potent offense? Great job by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Great job by Goff early. Great job by Coach Campbell getting Jameson Williams involved in the passing game more. Since he started calling plays, I want to say they lead the league in points per game. So it's just the Lions just don't have enough defense to stop anybody. The Rams, good team. As I told you, they're going to miss Devontae Adams. Great coach is Sean McVay. He reminds me of a young Sean Payton, a guy who's offensive-minded but smart enough to understand that you win with both sides of the ball. Great running back in Kyron Williams, goes over 1,000 yards again. Matt Stafford is the MVP, playing his best football. I think he's trying to get a Super Bowl this year and retire and walk off with his boy Clayton Kershaw. Even though he has probably 3-4 good years in him left, I think that he wants to retire on top. The thing with the Rams, their defensive backs are young and they're real handsy, and you can get them. But now, do you have the team that can slow down the offense enough for the Rams. I know the Eagles can when they're at full strength. Who else in the NFC has an opportunity to slow them down when the playoffs start? I don't think I could think of the Eagles. The Niners are very familiar with them, but the Niners are too beat up. Even though Robert Saleh does a hell of a job on defense and is very familiar with slowing down that McVay system. So easy cash for us on that, on the over 55 and a half. All right, and the last game was the game out in the Rocky Mountains as Bo Nix puts the Broncos on his shoulders in the second half, and they're able to beat the Green Bay Packers. Once again, benefit of coaching. I watched Bo Nix and faded him his entire time at Auburn. I always thought he was a hype train and was a horrible player. He leaves Auburn, goes to Oregon, and gets coached the right way by the offensive coordinator who was over there. I can't remember who was the OC over there at the time, but I do know that Dan Lannon is a smart guy. Even though he's an asshole, he's a super smart guy, and he understands football. And Dan Lannon put him in a position to win. He put Bo Nix in a position where they highlighted what he did best, and that set him up to get drafted, and he lands in the perfect spot for him with a quarterback guru like the great Sean Payton. And Sean Payton is getting the best out of Bo Nix. Now you're able to see that he's highlighting his strengths and he's eliminating all of the bad things that he used to do. Bo Nix was a turnover machine at Auburn, and he played scared. Now he plays with a lot more confidence because Sean Payton is giving him everything during the week where it's nothing that's going to surprise him when he comes on the field. Also, he's always been an athletic guy. Strong kid, like 6'2", rock solid, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, pure, good guy. So everything's, working at optimal condition, really fast kid too for a quarterback, man. So Bo Nix is doing a good job. He's becoming known as a winner, and that's a great thing. As the playoffs go ahead, I don't fear him for the Texans. I saw the game the Texans played against them, and if C.J. Stroud didn't get hurt that game, the Texans would have won comfortably against Denver. I think that he's going to have problems with that Texas defense, but he did a really good job in this game. As far as in the Packers side, lose Michael Parsons. They were up 24-13, and everything kind of went haywire. Christian Watson goes down. He's always hurt anyway. Can Matt LaFleur end up turning Jordan Love into the MVP that he should be? A lot of people picked him to be the MVP of the NFL preseason. I didn't trust it because I don't trust their receivers, and I still don't. Their receivers have never been dropped. They all have dropsies. I don't understand why they didn't go get Devontae Adams again and bring him back. Maybe it was a splinter in the relationship between he and LaFleur, or him in the front office. No, the front office works for the public because the Packers don't have an owner. But for whatever reason it was, they don't believe in bringing a number one guy. And Christian Watson isn't a number one guy. He just isn't a number one guy. They have a good wide receiver too. A really good wide receiver too. I've been following Jaden Reed since Michigan State. He's an awesome playmaker, gadget guy, a guy that you want to get on the second corner. But they need a number one guy badly in the Packers, and it's going to help Jordan Love so much. He had turned Tucker Kraft into his number one guy, and you can't win with your tight end as your first option, at least not, I don't think, in the type of offense that LaFleur wants to run. So we see in the offseason how they do. They're definitely set back now. They already were struggling with rushing the passer. That's why they went and got Michael Parsons. Now he's gone for the playoff run. Gonna be tough times and tough sledding for sure in Green Bay. Get to a couple of comments before we get to the present. Marathon says he thinks the 49ers may win the division over the Rams. We'll see. Okay. What happened to the Rams defense? It's starting to leak some. They've been young on the back end, and that's the problem. And I also agree with you with this one. And their window closed. I spoke about it several times when they had that big lead against San Francisco and allowed Brock Purdy to come back and win that game. And Aaron Glenn still got a job with the Jets after that horrible showing. And their secondary was trashed in, and it's still trash. All right, guys, I want to let's review real quick before we get to the present. We only got 3 games to discuss tonight anyway that I want to talk about. Let's review the college quarterbacks to bets. If you guys remember, I did a segment on that in early in the year, and I believe in September, October, where I talked about all the college quarterbacks that you should bet and the ones to fail. Let's go over the list to see how they did, the ones that I called out. These were the quarterbacks that I said were the best bets. I said John Mateer from Oklahoma, and it's turned out pretty good as John Mateer has now gotten the Oklahoma Sooners into the college football playoffs, even though he got a broken hand this year and had to deal with all that stuff. He was still able to win with heart. And as I told you guys early in the year, for those who weren't familiar with Mateer's game, I watched a lot of him at Washington State. He's a guy that makes splash plays. Really good feet, strong arm, but the plays that he makes on second reaction are what make him different. So good job by John Mateer this year. He's lived up to the billing from 5 stars, one of the college quarterbacks best to bet. Second, I gave out Diego Pavia. Pretty good year for him, too, as Vanderbilt reaches new heights. Followed him since New Mexico State. He's a crash kid, though. I didn't like anything. I don't like how Pavia carries himself. He's definitely on cocaine. He's definitely on drugs, man. He's on drugs, man. He's the next Johnny Manziel. He looks up to Manziel, and some of the stuff that he's doing is too reactionary. I've been around people who struggle with drug abuse before, and Diego Pavia is definitely getting a little bit too high. His face is on the glass plate, and I don't want to talk about anybody's family or be disrespectful to people's family, but you can kind of see from the way his parents carried himself. I don't like that at all. So Diego Pavia has done his job on the field, gets to Heisman, but disrespects the Heisman process and gets bottles at the club with F Indiana. Like, that's just classless, man. Come on, get some class, Diego Pavia. You made my list for what you can do on the field. But, man, if I was a GM, it's nowhere in hell I'm drafting you to be my quarterback in the NFL. You party too much, and you just don't have any awareness. Like, come on, man. You came from New Mexico State. You played for Vanderbilt, and you made it to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Did you think you were going to win? Like, you should have been grateful that you were a finalist. Be grateful that the committee even looked at a suck-ass school like Vanderbilt. So good job by Diego Pavia living up to being the guy that we want to bet on. Good job of him raising the Vanderbilt program. Good coach over there in Clark Lee, but Pavia has to learn some awareness and show a little bit more class, man. I don't like that at all. The next quarterback that we discussed was Devin Dampier. Yeah, Devin Dampier had a solid year. Coach Whittingham's last year as the head coach out there in Salt Lake did a wonderful job at the University of Utah. I think 22 years. Devin Dampier ends up being his last quarterback, gives them another winning year. They don't get to their goals of winning the Big 12, which we expected. I knew that Texas Tech was going to be an issue because they had paid for so much talent over there. But I saw the clear difference when Utah and Texas Tech faced each other. And Dampier did a really good job. We won a lot of money on him this year, so he does live up to being the guy that we bet on, but he doesn't get the final goal done for that team because I thought Utah would win the Big 12 and be in the college football playoff this year. The other quarterbacks that we said we were going to bet on this year, Damon Williams Jr. from Washington, he just beat us bad on Friday. I don't know why the hell we faded him. Damon Williams is a really good player, undersized, but has a lot of Russell Wilson in him. Leadership, A lot of playmaking skills and a good arm, so he's definitely lived up to that building. The last quarterback I told you guys that was a best bet for us all year was Darian Mensah. Had a little struggles in the middle of the season, but overall, Duke made a great investment paying him $4 million, bringing them over from Tulane as Duke wins the ACC championship at 7-5, but they get it done. And I know that Miami should send some money over there to Mensa. They probably try to recruit him after my guy gets out of there, Carson Beck, because Mensa is a pro quarterback. I don't know if he's coming out this year. I don't know if he's eligible. I think he is eligible this year, but he should probably come back one more year. But Darren Mensa is going to play on Sundays, man. Solid quarterback. Glad that he lived up to the billing and we were able to bet him this year. Now let's quickly look at the guys that I said to fade in college football. We said we were going to fade Cade Klubnik first. Turned out pretty good, huh? As Clemson has one of their worst seasons that we can remember. You know, when you look at Clemson, the complete downfall starts with Cade Klubnik. Nothing else has changed. They have two of the best receivers over there in the country. Solid defensive line as always. Dabo didn't forget how to coach. Cade Klubnik just isn't good. He was just overhyped, man, and he was an easy quarterback for me to put at the top list to fade. You remember I was laughing when they were saying in the spring he was going to be a top 5 draft pick in the NFL. Some guys are just good guys, but they don't have it, and he's one of those type. Another guy said the fade worked out pretty well. Jackson Arnold at Auburn, who transferred from OU, ends the year as not even the starter. Gets my guy Freeze, who I told you Hugh Freeze wouldn't last through the year. I told you he's a horrible coach. He's a great recruiter. He's just one of those old school coaches that's going to get drunk and pay kids a bunch of money and pay the best talent and not teach them shit. And that's what Hugh Freeze did at Auburn. He got a whole bunch of talent over there, and he doesn't develop quarterbacks well. He has a really dinosaur offensive system, the RPO, where it's just hand off a dive or throw it deep, and the teams in the SEC aren't going for that unless you just have more talent than them. If you got Cam Newton, yeah, you can run that. You can't run that with Jackson Arnold. I told you he was undersized. Started the season all right, but as the season ends, he ends up on the bench and not being the starting quarterback. I also told you guys to fade Dylan Raiola. Underachieved, about to leave Nebraska, lost his job. He got hurt at the end of the year, but he shouldn't have been starting anyway. The backup was better than him anyway. So I guess they were just trying to keep their promise to him since his dad played in the NFL and they paid him so much NIL money. But Dylan Raiola has long been overrated to me. I wouldn't draft him for my enemy's team. He sucks. And the reason why he sucks is because his mentality. His mentality sucks. As a grown-ass man, because you're grown now, you're over 18, and I'm sure his dad has spoke to them, or maybe he has it. I don't know. His dad was a really good player for the Lions, an offensive lineman. Why the hell are you copying Mahomes? Like, I know you want to play like him, that's cool, but wearing the Oakleys before the game, doing his little movements, that's just weird, man. It's just weird. And I wouldn't touch Dylan Raiola with a 10-foot pole if I'm another football team. And what's even weirder, they're trying to say he might go to Texas Tech. That would just, if I'm Mahomes, I file a restraining order on that kid. Like, you're getting too weird, bro. Another guy we said fade was Sawyer Robertson at Baylor. We told you that Sawyer Robertson, too erratic. He can throw the ball, man, but he turns the ball over too much. He isn't consistent at all. And as you see, Baylor has a horrible year. They decided to sit out the bowls, but they didn't win a lot of games anyway. They completely underachieved. We see if Dave Aranda is able to survive. I bet you they wish that they would have hired Texas Tech's coach who was on that staff to be the head coach. And says Baylor's coach didn't help it out. My homeboy Kurt, shout out Big Kurt Bolden, he told me about Dave Aranda years ago because he runs a scouting he runs a high school development program where he gets kids scholarships, and he said he did not like Dave Aranda. He said he was not a solid dude. And lastly, I was wrong. Out of 10 guys that I gave out to fade and to bet on, I was completely wrong on the last guy. I gave out Carson Beck. And the reason why was because Carson Beck I thought he had got caught up in the prime time and in the money part of college football because he had the private jet deal and all that stuff going on in Georgia, and Kirby didn't like him and things like that. So I kind of bought into the narrative, and also I just don't like Mario Cristobal. I don't think he's a good coach. He's not a bad guy. He's a great recruiter. I just don't think he develops quarterbacks well, and I don't think he coaches offense well either. But he did a good job of obviously hiring some good assistants. He's a GM type of coach, so if he has the right type of assistants, he's going to recruit his ass off. But Carson Beck, I got confidence in him again. I would not be surprised if Miami goes to A&M and wins. Carson Beck can throw that thing, and he always could. But like I said, I got caught up with the fact that Georgia, bad ending, and most of all, I was turned off by the fact that he had the private jet deal and was dating a little girl out of Miami and doing too much on social media. Now, him and the girl have broken up, and he looks like he's all about football again. So that's a bad call on my part. Carson Beck and I don't know why people aren't talking about him as a draft pick. To me, he's got to be probably the most pro-ready guy. I'd even take him over Fernando Mendoza just because Mendoza, we've only seen 1 year of Mendoza being good, and it's been under Signetti. He wasn't that same quarterback if you watched him as much as I did at Cal. So we have to be careful about these quarterbacks. And sometimes you have these quarterbacks that have great coaching and they have great pieces and parts around them. A lot of Alabama quarterbacks have been like that, USC quarterbacks, and they struggle when they get to the league because now you don't have an advantage at every position. Ohio State quarterbacks, we have dealt with the same thing. So we'll see. I think that Carson Beck is good, though. I do grade him higher, in my opinion, than Fernando Mendoza as far as a pro prospect. I also like Dante Moore a little bit more as well. But if you watch the show, I've been high on Dante Moore since he was at UCLA. They fumbled the ball by letting him get away and go to Oregon. He's a really good player as well. And Oregon is going to make some noise in the college football playoffs as well. I got a ticket on. All right, guys, enough of talking about the past. Let's get to where we're at right now. Let's jump into the present, man. Get to where our feet are at. Got some games tonight, too. All right, let's kick it off first with the Monday night football game, guys. Got the Dolphins at the Steelers. Steelers land only 3 points at home against a Dolphins team that has not been good in the cold weather. Dolphins riding a 4-game winning streak, trying to extend it. They got some slim playoff hopes. I think Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, did a really good job. He gave McDaniels another opportunity. He fired the GM, Chris Greer, and said, let's see what you can do, Mike. I trust, when we speak to each other, how smart you are. I trust what you do as a coach. And now you see that ever since Chris Greer has left as the GM, Dolphins have looked pretty good. They're on a 4-game winning streak, as I said. The thing that I like most that Mike McDaniel did was he got back to who he was as an offensive coordinator with the 49ers. If you remember, he was Shanahan's guy with the 49ers when they were making their dominant runs. When Christian McCaffrey played his best, his offensive coach was Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, right up there with Ben Johnson as a great run designer. He can design some great running plays, man. Eric Bieniemy as well. I'm sure Eric Bieniemy is helping Ben Johnson with that. He does an excellent job of setting up great run block schemes. Not your traditional style of running the ball. And it's worked, and Devon Achane has completely become a superstar in the league. He scores every game. If you got him on fantasy, he's one of those guys who's like a top 3 fantasy running back every year now, the last couple of years. Just watched him in the A&M, always a speedster. McDaniel has kind of put him in that Christian McCaffrey role now and allowing him to, because he's just as effective in the pass game or the run game. Always one of the fastest guys on the field when he's on the field. You also got Ollie Gordon behind him now, and you got another back as well. I think Wright is his name. There's another good running back over there too. I like everything right now that Mike McDaniel's doing. He's setting up this Dolphins team to be better in the future. Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator, has done a much better job. In this 4-game winning streak, they've only allowed 12 points per game. He's a first-time defensive coordinator, former defensive end, played with the Ravens, has a lot of experience, just had to get used to putting his system in. Look on the other side of the ball, Steelers are 7-6. First place, they're holding on by thin thread, but they did win last week against the Ravens, so I think they should have the tiebreaker against them as well. They have to keep winning because if they don't win the division, they're not going to get in as a wild card. TJ Watt is out, hoping he gets better. Some issue he had with his lungs. He had to have surgery. I think his lungs collapsed. Also, Jalen Warren is on the injury report. I'm not for sure. You guys throw it up in the comments if he's been confirmed that he's out or not. I didn't get a chance to confirm if Jalen Warren was out. But you got to consider in this game, it's a couple things that are saying Steelers. One, Mike Tomlin, as you know, with the ridiculous 22-0 record at home as a head coach for Pittsburgh. That's just crazy. He's never lost on Monday Night Football at home in Pittsburgh. 22-0. So all of those people in Pittsburgh who say they're tired of Mike Tomlin, you find another coach who's 22-0 in the NFL in primetime games on Monday Night Football. Mike Tomlin has made a lot of workers in Pittsburgh have great weeks winning on Monday nights, man. 22-0 is just outstanding. Another thing to look at as well, though, is that Tua is 0-5 all-time in games with the temperature below 40 degrees. It's going to be 20 degrees in Pittsburgh. But even with all of that said, everything factoring and saying to take Pittsburgh, I'm probably going to be contrarian and roll with the Dolphins +3 and first half +1.5, just because I like Mike McDaniels. I like the fact that the Dolphins got in town Friday and practiced in the snow. I think that he's going to use this as motivation and tell them, hey, guys, they think that fish can't swim in the water. I mean, can't live outside the water. They think fish can't get it done in the snow. So I think that we get a good showing, and the line is telling you that because we know that the Steelers stadium is one of the biggest home field advantages. As I said, Mike Tomlin is 22-0 on Monday Night Football, and the line's only 3. If the line looks funny, it's probably money. This is why I'm going to lean taking the points with the Dolphins. The Steelers have won only 1 game out of 11 when TJ Watt has been sidelined since he joined the team. So they're 1-11 when he's injured. They're 86-46-2 when he plays. TJ Watt is that big of an effect on that defense, man. I think that Miami's going to be able to move the ball. I won't be surprised if Tomlin figures out a way at the end of the game with field goal, kicking, or something to win this game by 1 or 2 points. But for me, I gotta play the number on this one. Give me the Dolphins +3. Also, I'm going to play Kenneth Gainwell, the running back for the Steelers. He has a really good connection right now with Aaron Rodgers. I think he goes over 3.5 receptions. Pretty juicy at -155. So if you can find +4, I think it's like -120 for him to have at least 4 receptions. Also, I like Gainwell to score a touchdown at +150. Ashan is an automatic touchdown play if you like to play touchdown props. He's -120. I'd also put a small flyer, not heavy, on Darren Waller. Darren Waller usually plays well in primetime games, man. He usually plays well. Yes, the dogs have been barking crazy. My boy says, no, 5. Hey, brother, I'm going to just look around this big, beautiful house and say I'm going to trust myself. But best of luck to you, man. The great thing about football and betting is it's 2 sides. So if I don't win, at least you do, right? And says the Steelers need this game because next week they play the Lions. They need every game anyway because it's a battle for the AFC North, so they need every game anyway. But I'll definitely be on that first half. That's going to be my biggest play on the Dolphins in the group. We're going to play first half heavy. I think McDaniel comes out with a really good plan. I just don't like the Steelers defense anyway. They're already old, and now they got TJ Watt is out. How the hell are those old, slow dudes going to slow down all of that speed that the Dolphins have? That's my problem. Now, can they block it up? I think they have a much better opportunity to block it up without TJ Watt. So I'll be on the Dolphins +3, guys. All right, let's get to tomorrow. Tomorrow, we got the NBA Cup. I'll be at that game for sure. Uh-oh, I put a question mark right there. Let me fix that. I meant to put the, there we go. All right, we got the NBA Cup, guys. Spurs versus Knicks. Knicks laying 2.5. Over and under 22, 228.5. I will be at the game in the building. So if you're here in Vegas and you're at the NBA Cup, holler at 5-Star. I'd love to buy you a drink. All right, so this boils down to offense against defense for me. As I said, I like the coach. I believe Mitch Johnson is his name, the head coach of the Spurs. Tough-minded guy. I remember him playing, and when he played, he wasn't that talented. He was a guy who was a grinder. And he's kind of putting that mentality into a really talented team. Wemby, Castle, and Fox are both really good players, and they're really two-way players. You look at the other side of the ball, the Knicks are an offensive team, especially now that they've hired their new coach, who's a really good offensive guy who's coached with the Cavs, coached with the Warriors, the Kings, just been around the block, and he's doing a good job of just bringing positivity and empowering the players. So you're seeing a really good effort by the Knicks. I know that Karl Anthony Towns is back. He's a guy who shoots a lot of threes. So for the Knicks to win, he's going to have to hit his threes because he's definitely going to be parked at the three-point line trying to pull Wemby out of the paint because we know that Wemby is an eraser. But Wemby's so smart and such a high IQ and also such a talented guy. He can get all the way out to the three-point line and still get back in the paint and affect shots as we saw him do it with Chet, because Chet's a stretch four as well. I think that the Spurs just play too much defense. I think that they're confident coming out beating OKC. They held OKC to 109. OKC averages 123 points a game, second in the league. They also were able to hold them to 41% shooting. OKC shoots 49% from the field. Held them to 24% from the three-point line. Usually they're shooting 38%. The Knicks can't beat you defensively. They can only beat you by outscoring you. And I think that the Spurs are going to lock them down. I think that the Spurs, at least in these times, now a good defensive effort is holding the team to 110. So I think that the Spurs win this game. I think the Spurs lift the NBA Cup, and I think they get it done money line at +130. So I'll definitely be playing that tonight. He asked me, was I on the rocks tonight? I have not looked at it yet. Unfortunately, I have no information on it. I will look at it a little bit later when I get the group plays out. My boy DS Griff says Wemby had 40 and 20 his last two games versus the Knicks. Yeah, he's going to kill them. I like the Spurs at this spot, man. As a Rockets fan, it hurts to say that, but I think that the Spurs are going to win the NBA Cup. All right, guys, let's get to one more game I'll talk about before we get into the Ball and Parlay. The Salute to Veterans Bowl that's happening tomorrow evening out in Alabama. It's going to be Troy versus Jacksonville State. Two Alabama teams, man. They're only separated by 200 miles, actually. But because the fact that Jacksonville State played in the FCS so long, they hadn't played in a while. This is the first time they'll be playing each other since 2001. They called the game the Battle of the Old School Bell. So two Alabama teams, Jacksonville State from Little Jacksonville, Alabama, and then you got Troy from Little Troy, Alabama, and now they're going to face off. Jacksonville State lost. Both teams are actually runners-up in their conference. Give me a drink of water. Apologize. Voice was getting a little dry. Okay, so I think that both these teams are decent. The difference is going to be the quarterback. Both runner-ups, as I said, in their conference, both losing their conference championships. Troy loses to a really good James Madison team, but they covered and they made that game uh, very, very uh, competitive, especially early. If I'm not mistaken, they might have won the first half. I know I had them first half and they covered, but I don't remember the exact score. Either they lost by 1 point or won the first half in that one. Good showing by them. They're led by quarterback Goose Crowder, who missed some games this year with an ankle injury, but he is back and hopefully he'll be playing in this game. They will be without their leading rusher, Tay Meadows, he's in the portal like a lot of these kids are going to do in these mid-major schools who are good. He's trying to go get some money, man, and I'm not mad at him at all. All right. On the other side, hell of a player, Cam Cook. I don't know his eligibility, but if he has any time left to play football in college, he's going to be in the portal too. Because this kid can play. He led the entire league, the entire nation, in rushing yards with 1,659 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns this year. They got the fourth best running game in the whole college football over there at Jacksonville State. But I have a problem with their quarterback. I bet on Jackson State against Kennesaw State. Their quarterback, Creel, had 2 really bad turnovers. I remember Creel, I want to say he was at Georgia Southern first. He's a run-first guy. He has some wheels. He can run when the play breaks down or he's running some RPOs. But, man, if he got to drop back and throw the ball, he's just not good in the passing game at all. Also, Jacksonville State struggles to stop people in the air. Like, they're not a good pass defensive team. So, Troy, 53rd in total defense in the whole college football. So I think that they're more of a defensive-minded team. Coming out playing James Madison, they're a little bit more battle-tested. I think that Troy looks at Jacksonville State as a little brother. Like, we were a FBS school. You guys were FCS. You just moved up. I think manpower-wise, Troy will be a much better team. Give me Troy. I won't lay the short number, 2.5. I'll just take a money line to win. I think it's minus 140. I think that Troy can get this one done. There's 2 Alabama teams who are very close, 200 miles apart, battle out in the Salute to Veterans Bowl tomorrow night. Look forward to that one. All right, y'all know what time it is now. We're right on time, a little bit over an hour. Let's get into the Ball Parlay. All right, the first play that I'm going to give out to you guys is going to be the Spurs. Take them plus 2.5. I already told you the reasons why I think that they're going to win the NBA Cup. I just wouldn't fade Wembyani in these type of spots. Let's just hope that it's not overwhelming Spurs money. I don't think it will be because the Knicks are a very big fan base, a very loved team with a lot of big pocket guys who are going to be out here in Vegas betting on them. So give me the Spurs plus 2.5. Unless the market changes, I think that the Spurs get this one done. The other play will be for Wednesday. I'll probably be on here Wednesday. I'm still deciding. If not, for sure, I'll be here by Friday. I know that Raheem Palmer is going to come on this week at some time, and we're going to give you guys a show. But right now, I want you to put it in while you still have a good number. Let's go to the 68 Ventures Bowl, Mobile, Alabama. We got Louisiana Lafayette. I went to school there for exactly 1 day. Louisiana Lafayette. I went in for 1 day, saw how pretty the girls were, and I didn't go to class anymore. I just hung out at the student union and just parked my car on campus and cut up my music and picked up females. So Louisiana Lafayette will always have some love from old 5-star. I had an apartment there on Johnston and Gibo, right across from the Acadiana Mall, man. Shout out to the club Strawberries in Lafayette, one of the greatest clubs in the whole world. And we used to party when I was young, man. Strawberries was known around the world for the beautiful women there and the good times. So they'll be playing Delaware. We bet some Delaware early in the year. They have an offense that throws the ball a lot. They can score some points. Pass first for sure. Nick Minacucci. Remember I said the other time when we bet on him, we lost. He played like a mini coochie. That's what he played like. Well, we're going to fade him again, man. He has 10 rushing touchdowns. He throws for about 300 yards a game, but he turns the ball over too much. 7 interceptions this year. About 10 fumbles he's had this year as well. Recovered, I think, half of them, but he still just puts the ball on the ground too much. You got a solid program over there with the Raging Cajuns. This is Louisiana's 8th consecutive season going to a bowl game, 13th time in 15 seasons. You got Michael DeSormo, who he was already the OC under Billy Napier. Billy Napier left, and goes to Florida. When he goes to Florida, he just kind of continued the same offense, the same type of game that they play there that Napier started, which is ground and pound, man. The 29th ranked rushing offense in the nation. I don't think that Delaware is going to be able to stop the run game. You know, when it comes to these type of games, I'm also looking at what's your feeder, meaning what high school talent do you get? Delaware isn't getting much. They've done a really good job being able to build up there and find the best players in that very limited picking pool that they have. But you look at Louisiana Lafayette, they got guys who could play, man. They got guys who weren't good enough to make it on LSU's team, but guess what? They can go right there to Lafayette, see some pretty girls, and play some solid football and have a great college career. And I think that they just have too much talent over there. Look for running backs Bill Davis and Zylan Perry to put on the show. Great 1-2 punch. They've accounted for 1,400 yards together, 14 rushing touchdowns. Also, one of the best nicknames in college football, Lunch Winfield, is the quarterback. He's brought some stability. Delaware is 4-8 against the spread this year. Menacucci can play, but I just don't trust him against these type of athletes that's going to come out of Louisiana. Give me Louisiana Lafayette money line at -140 to win the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. We got about 200 people in here live. That's a good thing, and I expect another 500 or so to turn to the channel. You guys make sure you hit that like button, make your comments. You know, I appreciate you all for rocking with 5 Star in Vegas. I'm also doing a really great deal right now on the bowls. If you guys are interested in getting all the bowl plays, it's 15 bowl games that I have plays on, including the college football playoffs that start this Friday. That's going to go from tomorrow all the way until Christmas Eve. Let's put some extra presents under the tree this year by getting into the private group with 5 Star in Vegas and being able to have some winners on these bowl games. I call this show Pete Weaver because when it comes to bowling, there's nobody better than your boy 5 Star in Vegas. All right, guys, shout out to my alma mater, high school, Monroe, Louisiana stand-up. Ouachita Parish High School wins the state championship in a great game. I watched it. They come back 21-20 after being down 17-7 at halftime. Those kids are so scrappy, just like all the kids that I grew up with around Monroe. They're going to fight. They're going to scratch. They're going to crawl, man, and that's what they did. They beat our rival, which is Ruston, Louisiana. I always love Ruston. Shout out, rest in peace, my boy Eric Sims, who was from Ruston, ended up moving to Monroe and playing football with me. I'll never forget. So I played quarterback most of my Pee-wee, and then I got to 7th grade. You know, you had a spring practice with 6th grade going to 7th grade, and they're trying to figure out what positions they want you to play. And I guess because I had a little height on me and, you know, pretty athletic kid, they tried to play me at safety against Ruston in the spring game, man. And I remember one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. A guy broke the ball for Ruston and just stiff-armed me straight through the turf on the sidelines and breaks and goes 60 yards in the spring game for Ruston to beat us in a spring game. It didn't matter. It was, you know, it didn't count for anything. But it was just one of those moments that was kind of like a defining moment in my life. And at that moment when I got stiff-armed, and I remember watching the tape, and I remember my coach saying, "That's piss poor." And it stuck with me, man. And from that day forth, I was a quarterback the rest of my career playing football. I said, I don't think this defense is going to be my calling. So I always remember that about Ruston, Louisiana. But after that, in games that actually counted, I never lost to Ruston in my whole career playing football. 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, JV, and varsity. We beat them every time we saw them. And shout out to the 2025 state champions, Washita Parish High School, as they get it done. Shout out to my boy Macario Dade, who played with us as well. His son, MJ Dade, is the star running back for that team. Hey, proud of you guys. Way to represent Lions Nation, man. Guys, thanks for checking in with me. Here go my boy say, what's good, brother? What's up, Mac? One of my guys that rode with Jeff, my boy Jeff Wilson. So my boy said, are you doing the free plays 15 days of Christmas? It's only going to be one play a day. I just gave you the one for Tuesday already, but I'll still retweet it, which is Troy. The following day, I just gave you the other one, which was Wednesday, which is Louisiana Lafayette. As we get into the bowl season, Clyde, it's going to be a lot more than just one game that's up. It's going to be 5, 6 games, 4 games, 3 games. What I will not be giving free at all will be the college football playoffs. I will not be giving that. That's for groups and for my guys who pay. It's unfair for them to pay the fees that they pay me to consult, and then I'm giving away free plays. But I will give out one play a day for the next 15 days, one bowl game. I'll tweet it. I'll make a video or I'll come on here, but I will get it out to you guys. But you do already have the Tuesday and Wednesday plays from 5 stars. I'm playing Troy on Tuesday, and I'm playing Louisiana Lafayette on Wednesday. Hey, guys, it's time for me to get out of here. I'm smelling the lunch that my wife prepared me. I'm starving. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in and rocking with the Wagering World. Once again, DM me if you're interested in getting the 15 plays for the college football bowl season that's going all the way through Christmas Eve. Go to www.thewageringworld.com. Purchase some of the gears you see right here, the Sunshine Summerlin cap. I had to wear it today because it's beautiful in Summerlin. It's 60, 65, 70 degrees, sunny. Just a great day to be alive out here in the Red Rock Mountains. You guys go support. Go to www.thewageringworld.com. Buy your homie, buy your brother, buy your dad. Some of the gear from thewageringworld.com is high quality with some of my sayings like it's us versus the machine, underground and underdogs, kick the damn extra point, live from Summerlin. Go check it out. Y'all support. I always make time to show you guys love. Make sure to show some love back to 5 Star in Vegas. Until next time, it's always us versus the machine, guys.